Assalamu alaikum, YouTube, and Ramadan Mubarak. It's that time of the year again for Muslims. I know not everyone's Muslim, but for us, it's Ramadan. It's the holiest month. It's the time to detox yourself, the time to break old habits that are bad for you and replace them with new habits. Um, it's kind of like a cleansing for your soul, for your body, physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, everything, Ali. um, Also, peep the shirt before I start. Look at this. Shirt is crispy. But today, I want to talk about fitness in Ramadan. Now, one thing in Ramadan you have to understand is you're not gonna hit new PRs. You're not gonna hit your goals in terms of gaining muscle or gaining weight. If you gain any weight, it might actually be fat if you do things wrong. You won't gain muscle for real. But you can make it you can put it in your head to just maintain your current physique as it is. You don't want to lose muscle, but at the same time, it's kind of hard to gain muscle without absolutely killing yourself. You don't want to just be stuffing your face all night, and obviously you can't go as hard in the gym. But it's okay. We do what we have to do, and we do what we can. So I'm gonna tell you what I do. The first question that comes to mind for a lot of people is, when should you train? When should you go to the gym? From my personal experience, I find that going to the gym after sahur just keeps me thirsty, keeps me hungry after the workout. After sahur, after fajr, when you go to the gym and you can't really eat your protein after, you can't drink water during the workout, maybe midway or right after the workout. It's kind of tough. And if you can wake up early enough to finish the gym and eat right before Fajr, then that's pretty good too. But you'd have to wake up pretty early. I find that the best thing for me is right before iftar. I find if you do it after iftar, you can't really enjoy the meal as much. You can't really eat a bunch of protein because you're gonna feel sluggish. Obviously you don't want to overeat even if you're training before. But you're still gonna feel like full, You get full so fast during Ramadan. Off of like 2 dates and some jalab, you know what I mean? So you feel full, even if you just eat carbs, you're gonna feel full. So I find if you break your fast before iftar, like an hour before. Oh no, I'm sorry. I find if you work out right before iftar, like an hour before, then you could train and then just go home and eat. You can eat your protein. You don't have to worry about working out for the rest of the night. You have more time to do other things, which is good because a lot of the time our days are kind of like occupied with like lack of energy and even lack of motivation because we just don't have carbs. We don't have nutrients in our bodies as much as we do like on a regular day. So I think like right before iftar is the key moment for me. So yeah, you can just like you can just go to the gym, work out, come home, eat your protein, drink your water. If you take creatine, drink the creatine, and just like enjoy the rest of the night, honestly. Now, the specific schedule might vary for everyone. What kind of workouts you're gonna do, how many sets, how many reps. But I think the best thing would be to just do light weights. Just take it easy right now, because remember, you're just trying to maintain your muscle mass, and maintaining your muscle mass doesn't really take a lot of stimulation for your muscles. You can kind of just do moderate workouts and you'll still look pretty much the same. You might actually look better if you do things right. If you don't eat too much sugar and you actually control yourself more than what you usually would on a normal day during Ramadan, because you have to be disciplined. Discipline is a big thing even after iftar. So yeah, I would recommend doing actually push-pull legs. I find this to be the best because it hits pretty much all the muscle groups you need, and you don't have to do a bunch of sets per muscle group. I only work out 3 times a week during Ramadan. This is efficient enough for me, and I hit all my muscle groups, um, stimulate them enough for me to maintain my physique, and I still have fun with it. I still try to, I still do bench press, I still do squats, I still do bicep curls. Just those staples in your workout. You can still do them. Just do them lighter weights. Maybe less sets. If you can do light weights and high reps, that's good. But don't do too heavy weights. Like my goal is to just stimulate the muscles enough. Get a decent sweat, a decent workout, and just go home. That's it. So yeah, do it before iftar. You'll feel like a king when you're eating, and make sure you just do light weights, lighter sets, lighter everything, and just do push pull legs. In my opinion, 3 times a week, you'll be chilling. You'll be fine. Now, after your workout, it's iftar time. Sun is down. You just prayed maghrib. Okay, it's time to eat. Sahdan. What should you eat? How should you eat during iftar? So obviously, dates is a staple. Eat a date. Drink your jalab if you have jalab. Try not to drink too much jalab because it's a lot of sugar, But I know it's tradition, you're with your family. Of course, you don't want to be left out. So drink like a cup. If you really need a refill, just do like half of it ice, half jalab, And as for actually eating, make sure you just eat, since you just worked out, so make sure you eat a lot of protein and some good clean carbs, And I know it might be tough, especially if you're brown, Your parents probably make a lot of fried rice, like not like Chinese style, but like a lot of rice with oils and stuff, which it's high in calories. You can't really do much if you're living with your parents. Just try to be more mindful of how much you're eating, because olive oil, a lot of oils, they add up to a lot of calories. Some bustos are very high in calories. They're fried. Try to stay away from fried foods. If you can convince your moms to bake your sambusas, it'd be really good. Maybe instead of fried chicken, cook them on the grill or something, or put them in the oven. Try to just eat healthily. Every night, my mom will make fattoush and soup, lentil soup, and I find that like breaking my fast on those they have a lot of nutrients, a lot of vitamins, and a lot of protein in the lentil soup actually. And once I eat those, I find my appetite for iftar is not as big, so I won't overeat as much. By the time you finish your soup and fattoush salad, your appetite is not gonna be as vast as you thought it was gonna be. So eat those first, and then make your plate of whatever you're having for iftar. And if you're cooking for yourself, that's even better. You could exactly track how much oil you're putting in, how much olive oil you're using when you're cooking, what exactly you're eating. You could track all your macros. But as for the people like me who live with their parents, until they're married, as for my brown brothers and sisters, just try to be conscious of what you're eating. Obviously, you know what healthy food looks like, and exactly how your mom cooks, how your dad cooks. So just if your dad is making some fatty pasta with cheese and stuff, and he made some chicken with it, okay, try to eat some chicken, more chicken, and then pasta. Try to eat a little more fattoush and lentil soup. So the main things to take away from this is just high clean proteins. Stay away from deep fried foods. Try to stay away from too much jalab, too much sugar. Try to eat things that are just high in nutrition, high in vitamins. And if you can count the macros, and count them. If not, then just eat mindfully. Eat till you're reasonably full. You don't want to be stuffed, or you can't even pray Isha afterwards. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not what Ramadan is about. It's not about just eating and waiting to eat once the sun goes down and stuffing your face like some pig, like some Arabian king. You know what I'm saying? The point is to be mindful and grateful for what you have, and doing all this for our creator. Try your best. Try to convince your parents to do like maybe the same recipes, but like doing them differently. Things of that nature. Now it's after iftar. Digest a little bit. Maybe you prayed Isha already. Maybe you had a cup of coffee. You want to snack. What do you snack on? You know, what's the best thing you could probably snack on? I know we've been fasting all day, so I get it. You know, you want to eat sugars. You want to eat, when you're hungry, when you're fasting all day, you want to eat everything. I get it. And when finally it's time to snack on something, um, it feels like you have limited time, so you don't really want to like lose the opportunity. I get it. I was a fat kid too. But you make sure you're eating like, maybe make something healthy, You don't have to be a health freak, but like maybe make like a protein shake or, some fruit, you know what I'm saying? Or maybe some protein bars. But like don't be eating like atayef all the time, don't be eating betlawa or anything sugary, anything like anything that's bad for you that you kind of know just by looking at it. Anything that's bad for you, just don't eat it too much. You can still enjoy those things. Hell, I enjoy them, but I just don't eat too much of it. If I'm gonna have betlawa, I'll have one piece and then that's it for the night. I don't have to eat like the whole. I don't have to try all of them. You know what I'm saying? If I want a taif, I'll eat like half of one because the whole thing is so much. It's too much sugar, especially late at night. One of my favorite things this Ramadan, I've been making a lot of protein ice caps. So I'll make like an ice cap. Nescafe, oat milk, honey, protein powder, of course, and ice, and you just blend it all together, and it's delicious, and it's natural. It's natural honey. No weird sugars in it, no weird syrups. You know what I'm saying? Or avocado smoothies, avocado milk, protein powder, and you can put a little bit of ricotta cheese if you want, and a little bit of honey. And it's delicious. You get your, avocados are very good for you. You get your protein intake. It helps you, and it's just it's a good snack. It keeps you full. If you don't want protein shake, maybe eat some nuts. Eat some fruits. Just eat something healthy. You know what I'm saying? Like remember, like you ate your protein for iftar too. Remember, you're not really gaining muscle during this month. You're just trying to maintain what you have already. So you're snacking. Snacks are good, and time passes. It's maybe you fell asleep, or maybe you've been staying up all night playing Minecraft. It's time for sahur, right before fajr. What's the good sahur to have? Personally, the sahur that's been the best for me so far, like the only thing I eat for sahur now, I don't really eat anything else, is just a couple eggs. You can have them anyway. Eggs are a superfood. They're full of protein, full of vitamins. They'll keep you full. If you want to pair it with the avocado or something, or maybe eat it with some hot sauce, it'd be good. But just eat eggs. I like to make like 3 or 4 eggs over easy. Cook it with some butter, a little bit of olive oil, and salt and pepper. That's all you need. Put them in a tortilla. You can add cheese if you want, if you're that guy. Maybe some sriracha. That's it. It's kind of like the ones from Dunkin' Donuts, just better for you because it's actually real eggs. Yeah, that's the best sahur I found to be. While I'll have school in the morning, so I'll wake up for sahur. I'll make that, pray fajr, and go to school. I don't get hungry till like later on in the day. I find if you eat oatmeal in the morning, or if you eat like maybe some sugar stuff, or just like anything that's big in carbs, you're gonna get hungry like maybe 2 hours after, maybe even less. With eggs, you stay full, so they're like a superfood, honestly. So guys, I'm just editing the video and I realized I forgot to mention something. A good snack or a good sahur in general is like just a smaller meal in general. Maybe if you had something for iftar, like some chicken and rice, just have like a smaller version of that. It'll keep you full. It's healthy. It doesn't have to be just eggs or just a protein shake. You can have other things throughout the night. Yeah, just remember, just eat clean. That's the biggest thing. Just eat clean. Don't eat too much, and you'll be fine. Healthy food just by looking at it. To be honest, most people do. You just and do some research if you need to. But yeah, that's it. Maybe if you're staying up after sahur and after fajr, maybe you want a cup of coffee, but just try not to drink something too sugary. I find just a shot of espresso is good for me. No cream, no sugar. But if you want some cream, a little bit of sugar, that's fine too. Just don't overdo it. Don't be going to kahwa house and drinking like 6 shots of caramel and 7 shots of honey. You know what I'm saying? That's too much. Just try to be moderate. Remember, this is the month to break our bad habits. It's the month to detox from a lot of things in life. And yeah, just try to be mindful of, what you put in your body. Now, one of the hardest things at Ramadan, but also one of the most important things for fitness, is sleep. How should you go about sleeping? Some people, they want to stay up all night, which I get it, and some people, they stay up all night and they'll sleep all day. And some people, they'll try to maintain their sleeping schedule, but at the same time they can't really have time to snack, and maybe they're not waking up early enough for suhoor. So it's tough, because you still want to hit your proteins, you still want to hit your nutrients, you still want to be healthy, but you can't do that for sleeping. I think for this answer, everyone has a different answer, there's no right answer to this. I think the best thing you can do is try to adjust sleep to your schedule. For example, like, when I have school in the morning, um, I'll try to sleep a little bit earlier, and then I'll wake up for suhoor and fajr. Depending on how early school is, I'll stay up, or I'll, try to sleep a little bit more and then go to school. And then after I come back from school, I'll do what I have to do, do whatever has to get done that day, whether it's homework or whatever other projects I'm working on. And if I have time for a nap, I'll take a nap, go to the gym, and then break fast or iftar. When it's the weekend and I don't have school and I'm just working, I don't mind staying up so late where I can pray fajr and then go to sleep. Because I can sleep in the next day. You know what I'm saying? I don't got school. I'll work my shift in the restaurant, go home, and stay up until fajr, and just do that cycle until it's time for a weekday. Which I know it probably isn't ideal. It's probably not the best for health, Maxon, and like fitness, but it works for my schedule and it works for me. And remember, it's good to take naps during Ramadan. It's very good. Just don't be napping too much, because you still have obligations and you still have duties. But naps are fine, and yeah, especially if you're doing what I do and you're kind of like staying up too late, maybe you're missing a couple hours of sleep, then naps are to be expected. Nothing wrong with that. And the biggest and most important thing in all of this is, remember to put your mission first. Remember, your mission is, you want to submit to Allah, you want to submit to God. The whole point of this month is to strengthen yourself mentally, strengthen yourself spiritually. Just get closer to your deen, get your deen up. Make sure you're praying all 5 times a day. Make sure you're educating yourself from Islam, whether it be from scholars, or whether it be from the Quran, or whether it be from YouTube. I've recently been watching this series called O Prophet. It's like a series on YouTube, and it's basically telling the story of how Prophet Muhammad alayhi salam, his life story, and telling us how he lived his life, all the tribulations he had to go through as a prophet. Remember, because we're doing this for Allah, you know what I mean? We're doing this for our deen. We're doing this to better ourselves. So, just remember your mission as a Muslim. Working out right before iftar, it's got a lot of benefits. You can eat your protein right after. The point is to just maintain your physique. You're not trying to really grow and hit PRs. Don't train too hard, you don't want to risk injuring yourself. You've been fasting all day, you have no energy inside of you. Eat smart at iftar, high protein. I'll make sure you eat a lot of protein. You just worked out. Try to stay away from too much jalab, too much deep fried foods. For the snacks and for the suhoor, it's the same principles. Eat healthy foods, whole foods, don't eat nothing crazy. And remember, sleep is very important. Best thing to do is adjust your schedule to your sleep schedule. Naps are fine. Just don't be sleeping from sunrise to sunset and just waking up for iftar, because you're kind of cheesing at that point. You still have responsibilities as a Muslim to do. You still have to work out. So yeah, just be conscious of that. Remember, this time to better yourself, and just cut out the bad stuff. Cut out the bad habits, whether it's what you're eating, what you're watching, how you talk, what you say. It's not just about eating, it's about other things too. And keeping your deen high and just believing. Overall, if you do all these things right, I think you'll come out as more disciplined, more sharp in your mind, and I think your deen will be higher in general. So yeah, this is what I've been doing this Ramadan and for the last year. And yeah, so far it's been pretty great. I'm not gonna lie. I hope you enjoyed this video. Inshallah it helps you. Inshallah it's informative for you. And hopefully I changed your routine a little bit. Assalamu alaikum, and yeah.